All right, thank you for tuning in to Destination Freedom with Shazzy Yapay. I'm your girl Shazzy, and I'm excited about tonight's episode. I got a special guest on, and so we'll talk a little bit more. But I just want to introduce to you guys Travaris Steele. Travaris, how you doing tonight? You got it. There we go.
All right, we're good now.
We good. How you
All
doing?
right, good evening. Good evening. Doing very well. How you doing?
I'm doing pretty good. He got a country. He got that country slang. No, but I met you, Travaris. I think it was in 2020 during the pandemic.
Yep. Yep. During the pandemic, Dr. Stevenson had the master class going
Yep.
on.
And we won the
Yep.
master class, and then we friended each other
Yep.
and been real cool. He's a sneakerhead. But that's all I know. But tell us about yourself. Just introduce yourself real quick. Let everybody know who you are.
Hey, so my name is Travaris. I currently live outside of Shreveport, Louisiana. I am a high school teacher, man of God, father, activist for those who are in my situation. So, to the viewers, I am in a wheelchair. Got in a car accident 18 years ago. Fell asleep driving behind the wheel. But God is good. He's greatly to be praised. No sad or sorrow here. I've had a life where His blessings have been rich, and they haven't added any sorrow throughout every challenge that I faced. Every time the enemy has tried to come and take me out, no matter the way he tries. I've been able to, with the power of God, make him flee 100 different ways.
Come on.
Uh,
That's awesome. So the Bible says in Revelations 12:11, and they overcame him by the blood of the Lamb and the word of their testimony. And so that's a big part of why I do what I do with my podcast. I always tell people that we're on a journey together to healing, to freedom, to deliverance, to wholeness. So that's why I do what I do. And I like to talk and bring people that are talking from a healed place, so that way we can help other people be healed. So with that being said, can you share a bit about your journey through the trauma you've experienced and just go forth?
so, uh, as I stated, I've been in a wheelchair. I've dealt with many things involving this. I've had my share of setbacks. Um, I've been the last two relationships that I really dedicated myself to. They ended up turning violent, where those people turned violent towards me, and those were hard times for me. But throughout the first situation, God helped me to endure it while healing me. But in this last situation that I just walked away from, He removed all the feelings, and I think that as people, when we understand that every every trauma we go through doesn't we don't heal the same from it.
Right.
We begin to see it differently. We begin to ask God for different things when we go through. Everybody wants to heal the same way. Healing is not universal, and once we got that place of saying healing is universal, then we can really start to break down barriers. We can break generational curses. A lot of people are afraid to do the work because of what it involves. And that involves saying, God, I surrender this before you. People say, God, well, you're my fortress and strong tower, but is he your strong tower?
Right.
Is he really your strong tower? Because if he is, why won't you lay your burdens before him and trust how he do it and you keep your hands off of it?
Right. Right. Because a lot of times we ask God to do it, but then we put our hands in it and we trying to make it happen, all while saying we giving it to him.
And so I've been there. I've been that person that, I'll say, well, God, I trust you to do this. And then I'm over here putting my hands on it. And he's like, well, I thought you trusted me.
Right.
Well, I do trust you, but I want to have my imprint on it. He's like, no, get back. Get back.
So do you
So
think our healing process, and this is just off the cuff, you think our healing process is delayed because we do put our hands on? Come
absolutely.
on.
Absolutely. So I'm gonna say this, and it's gonna be real uncomfortable to some people that's watching. And hey, I'm okay with that. A lot of us don't trust God the way we think we do.
That's a fact.
A lot of people really don't trust God the way that they think they do. They say, "Well, I trust God, and He gonna bless me, press down, shaking together." No, you don't. No, you don't. No, you don't. You may trust Him 50%, but you still trying to figure out what you can do to speed it up. And God is saying, no, long suffering is the fruit of the spirit. I can bear fruit off of your long suffering. I can bear you fruit off of your long suffering. But when you go over here and touch it, I'm gonna set you back. I'm gonna set you back the way I did Moses. So keep touching it. Keep delaying yourself.
So we gotta stop. We gotta stop touching what we gave God. Like we really gotta. If we trust, we just really gotta just sit back and say, okay, God, I trust you, and I'm taking my hands off of it, and take your mouth off of it in a negative way because that's delaying the process to healing too. So you really not, you really not healed. You're really not like you're not going through the process. And I think when we put our hands on it, we try to take steps out of the process.
But so here's the thing: it takes a level of vulnerability to be able to say, "God, I trust you unconditionally."
Yeah,
That unconditional trust is where it's at. God, I trust you unconditionally. No matter how it turn out, God, I trust you because I know you know what's best for me.
right.
And so we quote the scripture, I know you think your thoughts towards me. I know you have plans for me. But where's your vulnerability to even get to that place to where those scriptures can embed themselves in you and they just don't become lip service?
Wow. Talk to us.
So when we look at trauma and we look at healing, we have to look at how we think, how we speak, the type of people we're around. Um, how are we edifying God with the way that we live?
Mm,
All of that plays a part in healing. I always tell people I have I have 7 sets of married friends because I believe that I'm a husband, so I keep those type of people around me.
that's good.
I am an educator. I have over 400 Facebook friends that are educators in all different facets because that's what I am.
Right.
I put the people around me
That's
that
good.
I identify with and where I want to go. I'm friends with you because of what you do in ministry, because I read what you say, I feed off what you say, because I'm not the biggest Bible scholar. So let me go surround myself with people who are, so I can be motivated to be that Bible scholar. We don't put ourselves around people that we want to be. We rather be around the people that's showing the fight videos all the time. We want to be around the people that's showing all this stuff that doesn't contribute to where we're trying to get to.
That's
And
good.
so then we're sitting back with this trauma of, well, they living out my dreams. No, that's your fault. What are you doing to help yourself? What are you doing to shift the atmosphere?
You talking good. I ain't even go ahead. You got it. Keep going.
So that's my thing. And I ask that to everybody that comes talk to me, hey, I got this going on. I got this going on. Um, I always say, what are you doing to help yourself? Because God is giving you the tools. He's giving you the word. There's over 2,000 promises in the word of what he'll do. Are you reminding God of his promises? Are you living the way that you expect to be blessed? Or are you just saying, well, hey, God, I believe you for this, but I'm not going to do no work. You just go ahead and do that for me. And I'm going to sit back. It's like the people that say they single and they don't go outside.
Uh oh.
I'm like, how do you expect to find a relationship if you don't go outside? You don't go outside.
Uh
You're
oh.
against online dating. How do you expect God to give you a mate? You got to go out the door. You got to get online. You got to do something. Faith without works is dead. You can't keep saying I want a husband, but you don't want to get nobody a chance.
You talking good.
Like we got to stop.
You helping us. Ouch.
I'm just saying we got to stop. Then you got the ones. Well, I want it this way. I want it this way. Then they've been single 10 years, and then they got this trauma because they've been single 10 years. At what point did you go back and say, God, I want what you want from me?
Wow. Right.
Give me something totally different than what I'm used to.
Right. Right.
Give me something different than what I'm used to. And when you ask that, you mean that. You walk in that. You say, God, I'm going to trust you no matter what. Because I know you're not going to give me anybody that's going to hurt me. Anybody that's going to threaten my life, threaten my spirit, threaten my dreams, threaten the provisions, threaten what I've written down. as my vision, you're not going to give me nothing that's going to keep me away from you.
Right.
But no, we're going to stick to what we stick to. And then 5 years single, 10 years single, 15 years single,
Yeah.
20 years single. I'm still waiting. And God's like, well, I had this person lined up for you, but you started complaining. So that voided that blessing. I had this person lined up for you, but you still didn't want to get your mind right. And then we got all this trauma, and then you taking it out on everybody. You want to take it out on your family. You want to take it out on your friends. No, look at you. What are you going to do?
Right.
What are you going to do to get yourself past the trauma that you deal with?
Right.
Trauma can come from anything, unfulfilled dreams, things that didn't go as you thought planned. But what are you going to do when it comes? Are you going to fold or are you going to use the word?
That's right. So you answering my questions as we go, because I was going to ask, how has your perspective on life changed after surviving the trauma that you've been through?
So for me, so after the last situation I dealt with, I had to go and ask God, why do I keep attracting people that are potentially violent towards me?
Wow.
And I had to sit in that and deal with that. And when he showed me that, well, look in your childhood. When you was in your childhood, you were used to seeing people get murdered. I remember as a teen watching someone get their brain blown out, and I'm looking
Jesus.
at their brains in the street as a teen.
Wow.
And so all that contributed, I'm seeing unhealthy relationships. 90% of relationships that I see are unhealthy. They're violent. They're throwing hands, but then they're right back together. And so while I did see the good, the bad dominated, and I didn't deal with that.
Right.
And so when I didn't deal with that, I found myself saying, hey, it's okay if they're a little violent, if they're a little masculine and overly aggressive, because this is what you've seen. And you're just going to trust God to get them to change their behavior. But the whole time, that person they either don't know or they don't want to deal with it.
Right.
And so, as Natalie said, people stick with what's familiar. So, those people are sticking with what they know because they don't want to take the accountability
Right.
for, hey, I need to deal with this.
Right.
So I had to deal with it. And so then when I come back to the table, I say, well, God, now that you've shown me this, can you help me? Can you take this feeling away from me? And when you take this feeling away from me, the next person you send, can you send somebody completely different than what I've dated?
Right.
You send somebody completely different than what I've desired to get to know. Matter of fact, take the taste out of my mind for those type people altogether.
Right. 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 So when you
Just as
say,
you
go
go
ahead.
ahead,
No,
on you up.
I was gonna say. So I seen the reason why we got here is I seen your posts, some of your posts that you have been posting recently, and you
Yeah,
were just describing some things that had happened. I know you said it's
yeah,
been violent, so I'm only asking you because you put it out there
yeah,
before.
and yeah.
Can you tell us some of the things that you've been through so people can kind of get a better understanding of what you've
Um, so
overcome?
in my last situation, um, she attempted to take my life
Wow.
because I said I was done. She literally was trying to hit my car with her car, and push me into traffic to get someone to T-bone me and flip me over.
Jesus.
And she actually almost succeeded. We had a situation to where I wouldn't talk to her, and she got upset and literally pulled me out of my wheelchair. And so these were some of the things that I've dealt with. But that situation in particular, um, I was told not to go there.
Wow.
I was told not to go there on multiple fronts, but I made the decision that, you know what, God, I got this. I'm gonna be the one that turned that thing around, and you know, I'm gonna help get that together. You ain't got to do it. I'm gonna help you do it. And when it all went down, God was like, "I told you not to go over there because you didn't know what you were doing to begin with. I
Wow.
don't care that you're a man of God. I don't care that you got the power of prayer in you. I don't care that you can move mountains with how you speak. I said don't go over there. So why did you go over there when I told you not to? Now see the enemy almost took you out. Be thankful that I didn't take my hands off of
Come
you.
on. Come on.
And so, I have to thank him for that daily. because nobody knew that was happening. And I didn't say nothing to anybody until God was like, you know what? I want you to talk about it.
Wow.
I want you to start a lineage of breaking that generational curse.
Yeah.
Because silent suffering is a generational curse.
Wow. Okay. That's good.
And so we have to get to a place to where we start calling this stuff out as it is.
Right.
Because how can we defeat the enemy if we're afraid to call it out?
You right. And I just heard this while you were talking. Disobeying God could cost you your life.
It can.
Y'all need to put that in the chat because some of us need to say it and read it and see it and say it and read it and say it again. Disobeying God could cost you your life. Be obedient to the voice of God. I went to church yesterday. The man of God spoke on obey his voice. And whose voice are you listening to? And that thing was so powerful because at one point he said, you might have the right thing coming in one ear, but the wrong thing in the other ear. And it's based on what you just said. You said, be careful about who you hang around. So you could be around the right people on one end, but on the weekend, in the weekday, you with the right people. On the weekend, you with the wrong people. So you going, a double-minded man is unstable in all his ways. So we unstable because of what we surround ourselves with and what we feed
Yep.
ourselves. And so now God has given us the instructions. He's given us directions. But because you want to either one do what you want to do, or you got the wrong people in your ear, you disobey his voice, and it could literally cost you your life. It could literally cost you your life.
And some people don't realize it until it's too late.
Yeah.
Until they're devoured by the enemy and they're trying to figure out a way out.
Right.
You know, and that could be a bad relationship. That could be the wrong job. That could be even picking the wrong car.
Right.
If God say don't touch it, don't touch it. And yes, it's hard, and I can say that because I've done it.
Right. Me too.
And I'll say this: when I was married the first time around, um, I should have been walked away from the marriage, but I literally had the trauma of what is everybody going to think because the marriage had became more important than God.
Mm.
So all from 2014 to 2018, the marriage was bigger than God. And so once I did that, I'm covered in the marriage. I'm breaking a commandment.
Yeah.
So now once I break this commandment, the marriage is out of his favor. And so now all hell breaking loose. And so once it ended, I had to endure all that because first I put the marriage before God. And I got so caught up in well y'all this couple and y'all look good and all these different things and I'm like when the enemy came to attack, I had no words. I was I was going to church. I was studying my word, but I had no word to fight because I was covered in the marriage.
Good day. That's real.
So as Shazza say, disobeying God can cost you your life.
Yeah.
And it you don't sometimes you may not die, but that work to get back to the promised land can oof, you know.
Yeah.
Um
Yeah. We're gonna pray for you, Tasha.
Natasha, we got you covered,
Yeah.
man.
We got you covered.
We definitely got you covered.
Mm-hmm.
And Natasha, I'll speak to what you're saying. Um, you know, you're saying pray for you that people stop mistreating you. You have to create boundaries
Come
and
on.
say, no, this is what I'm going to accept. This is what I'm not going to accept.
That's it.
Either you're going to stay on this boundary with me, or I'm going to give you an exit pass out of my life.
Right.
You're worth more than just being mistreated.
Right.
You're worth more than people walking on you. You're worth more than people talking down to you.
Right.
I don't know what your situation is. It don't even matter to me. But you have to speak God's word over that. I will not accept mistreatment. I am beautifully and wonderfully made. God didn't create me to be mistreated. These are declarations that you have to speak and you have to mean them. You have to set those boundaries. And once you do that, that's what it is.
Right.
Whoever don't respect it, it's gonna be okay. If they're not in your life, that's okay. That's okay.
I
You know,
know
I
we
always
tapped
tell
in.
people,
Go ahead. Go ahead.
I always tell people, so even with right now what me and Shaz got going on, everybody that's supposed to be here is here. Everybody that's gonna tune in is gonna tune in.
Right. Right.
And so, Natasha, whoever's supposed to be in your life is going to be in your life. Whoever's not supposed to be there, they're not going to be there. And you got to be okay with that. You got to be okay with that.
Right. Right. And I was just we connected because I think it was yesterday, we just had a conversation on boundaries and setting your boundaries and sticking to what you set. And it's okay. You know what I'm saying? It's okay for your no to mean no and your yes to mean yes. And anybody that's connected to you, they may not like it, but respect it. You know what I'm saying? But respect yourself enough to set those boundaries and stick to it because it's important for your health. It's important for your spiritual health. It's important for your mental health. It's important for your financial health. You know what I'm saying? So it's okay to set those boundaries. And then, because me being a yes person, you know what I'm saying? Want everybody to be happy. Want to make sure, nobody's mad at me or whatever the case is. No, now I got to say yes when I want to say yes and say no when I got to say no. And then people might not respect it, or they might think, "Oh, you acting funny." No, I'm just standing in my boundaries.
And that's it. And, um, like I went back and said, healing is not universal, Natasha.
Right.
Whatever you're dealing with, you're going to be healed from it. But you have to trust what God shows you.
Right.
You have to trust that, and surround yourself with people that are progressing the same way that you're trying to progress.
Right.
Surround yourself with people that are already there, so that you have those people that you can feed off of,
Right.
and those people that can pour into you. Um, if there are any empty people in your circle, you need to remove those people because those people are going to keep you in a place where you're fighting to get out of trauma
Right.
because their situations are just going to continue to weigh on you.
Right.
You're already dealing with your own stuff,
Right.
and it's just not helpful.
Right. And the same thing Tiffany just said exactly what I said. God, give me strength to accept that not everyone means me well. And,
Yep.
and give me strength to accept the fact that when I do set my boundaries and they walk away, it's going to be okay. Because anybody that doesn't respect your boundaries are not meant to be in your life anyway.
And to the and I tell people all the time, even in marriages, you may have made the wrong decision, and God can fix it. But if both of y'all aren't on the same page, then some either y'all gonna get right with God, or you're gonna let it go. Does God hate divorce? Yes. But what's even worse is both of y'all losing y'all soul trying to make something work that wasn't ordained for him anyway.
Good day.
Um, and if you walk away, that's okay. If it's to keep both of you guys' soul intact, that's okay. It is okay to just let it be. It don't have to be no strife. It don't have to be no war. You just walk away. Both of you guys have your dignity. And even in life, you have some friends, they just don't fit where you're going.
Right.
And it's okay to say, we're not going to the same place. We need to just take a step back.
Right.
It's okay.
Right. So being a believer, and this just like off the cuff, being a believer, right? Have you
Okay.
connected? Did you connect with someone that wasn't a believer? Like, did you?
So, so the first relationship, she was a believer. She was heavy in it. And my second situation that I just got out of, here recently, within the last months, she said that she was, but there was no evidence of it. Like I didn't see her working relationship with God, but uh, because I was so vulnerable to the physical things that she was given and her feeding to the things that I'd already told her that I was going through. Those were things that I didn't hold her accountable to.
Right.
And I'll share this with everybody. And Shad's are probably gonna look at me crazy, and that's fine. That's fine. I got
No,
time.
you fine. Go ahead.
Um, I was with this woman a year, and never, not once, did we openly pray together. and never not once did this woman say grace at the dinner table with me. Not one time.
Wow.
Her kids, I asked them to pray one time at dinner, and they told me at 17 and 12 years old that they didn't know how to pray.
And you ignored all of that.
I ignored it. I tried to fix it, but I ignored it.
So you try to play God in the situation, in a
I
sense.
did. I
Come on.
did. I did. And that's why I can talk about it the way that I can, because when I finally said, God, you got to reveal to me, like, I feel like I'm in a sinkhole. I'm backslid. I'm starting to act like her. Like, it's falling apart. Like, okay, God, I surrender this time.
Right.
And I seriously surrender this time.
Yeah.
And when I did, he showed me who she was instantly.
Good
And
day.
it shot down here instantly. And when I told her that I was done, like, she became unhinged. And when I say unhinged, it got unhinged to the point to where she tried to take my life because I was done.
Wow.
And sometimes, we're gonna have people that come at us certain ways. We're gonna have people that try to hurt us, and you just gotta let them be great.
Yeah.
And you use the resource around you. I just used the law to my advantage. I never retaliated. I refuse to retaliate against anybody in this season.
Right.
This is seeking season, and I just refuse to retaliate because retaliation can cost you your life.
Come on.
Can, somebody put that in the chat. Retaliation can cost you your life. It is okay to walk away gracefully.
Come
It
on.
is okay to take a loss. As long as you still got your life and you still got your soul and the ability to get right with God, you can. It's okay to walk away.
Right.
Retaliation can cost you your life.
Good day.
If somebody hurts you, do not retaliate.
Come on.
Pray for them and let them be.
Listen. Because listen, people were talking about I match energy, and my kid she
I'm gonna get
hey,
my lit back.
no, I match energy, you go toe, I'm going toe. I'm going tit, we going tit for tat. And I'm like, man, it takes too much energy for me to just purposely say I'm gonna match your energy. Nah, I can't do it. You know what I'm saying? Because the God won't let me have peace about that. Now I know I done really sat here and purposely tried to hurt you. I'm not gonna do it. You know what I'm saying? Because that right there it cost me my peace. You know what I'm saying? To know I did it. It cost me my peace to know I did it. So y'all listen, take that in. Retaliation costs you your life. Walk away with your dignity, your relationship with God, your integrity, but don't try to get back at the people. People hurt you, stop trying to get back at people that hurt you. And it goes back to, it seems so small, but even Facebook bullying or social media, like we throwing shots, you retaliating because you upset. Nah, just chill. Take your mouth off of it. Take your social media off of it. Just chill, because it's gonna cost you your life and it's gonna cost you your peace, and it's not worth it.
It's just not worth it.
It's not worth it.
It's not worth it. Don't even waste your time with it. It's too much going on. We got enough warfare spiritually to be fighting than for you to be taking the time out trying to retaliate over some pettiness. I
Right.
mean, is it really that important?
Yep.
Is it really that important?
Nope. It's not.
Um,
It's not worth your peace. Cause now you up at night worried or can't sleep at night, and they going on about their business. You know what I'm saying? And it's
yeah,
just not worth it.
they don't care.
They don't
They
care.
only thing they want to do is break. Once they break you, they gone.
They
They
gone.
good.
They going to the next person or whatever the
And
next situation is.
you sitting over there mad. You still in your feeling. They ain't responded. But what they responded to, they did what they need to do.
Right.
If it didn't use them,
Right. And I told somebody recently, I was like, don't you know that somebody know your triggers? People know what it takes to trigger you, and you let them win every time.
every time.
Stop showing your hand. Stop letting people know what it is that triggers you, so that way they have something to use against you. And now they going on about their business like we said, and then they got peace or they got something, but you stressed out now because you allowed somebody. Stop giving people control over your life. Stop giving people control over your emotions and how you think and how you feel. Stop giving up your peace. Don't give nobody that much access and control over you. And this is something I'm saying to myself, because this is something I've been learning over the past couple of years. Stop giving people that much control over you. I be stressed out, worried. I wonder why they did this or they didn't do that, and it's because I gave them that power. Stop giving people that power to have that control over you. You got to know your worth in order to stop doing that. And that comes with the boundaries, and that comes with, having standards, and it comes with walking away. And walking away isn't easy, but it's necessary sometimes.
So, Riri, you said you woke up mad about the same thing. Why? Why didn't you just pray about it and let it be? Because at that point, it's just brewing. It's just brewing, and the enemy he's becoming more crafty as you sleep. And now you woke up mad. You'd open the door for him.
He's
You
like,
completely open the door for him.
aha, I got her.
Yeah, I got her.
I got her.
So now I'm gonna go ahead. I'm gonna take you, Riri, and I'm gonna get you to go hard at your family. Take it out on your kids if you got kids. Take it out on your coworkers.
Yep.
All because you went to sleep.
She said,
Okay.
oh, at that
Okay.
point, yeah, that
Okay.
makes
All right.
sense.
Okay. All
Yeah,
right.
that
That
makes
makes sense
sense.
then.
Yeah,
I'll back up. I apologize. I
yeah,
didn't realize that.
yeah.
Yeah.
But that's
Yeah.
good though. And
But
Margaret,
that's good. And
uh,
I respect you for admitting that, Riri.
yeah, that's some growth right there. So listen, another question for you. How do you find strength? I know you've been talking a lot, but how do you find strength and resilience in the face of adversity? Like, why you facing it? Where does your strength come from?
So first, my strength comes from God. That's one
Come
thing
on.
that that's a daily thing. Two, three times a day, God, I thank you for the strength.
Yeah.
I've been in the share for 18 years, and I've never once suffered 5 seconds of depression
Wow.
ever.
That's a blessing.
Um, the most hurt that I've honestly experienced is losing my grandmother and my mother. Those two things were harder than this.
Wow.
As far as being even the relationships, even though I was hurt behind the first one, um, it didn't take me out because it was God help me to endure this. Give me the long suffering that's needed to endure this because I know there's something you're trying to show me.
Right. Right.
And so once He did show it, I took it and I ran with it. And then because I thought I was good, I went right on back and backslid. And if it wasn't for the goodness of God, if it wasn't for me to be able to taste and see how good He is, we wouldn't even be having this podcast right now.
Right. Right. Because I asked
But
you, because you was like, I'm good. You know what I'm saying?
yeah,
Like,
yeah, and she did ask, and I told her I was good, and
yeah.
I have been good. People be like, "Well, it happened like that." I was like, "Yeah." I said, "God can heal you instantly like that." I said, "We we talk about we trust God to give us finances instantly. We talk about we trust God to give us that job instantly. We trust God to do all these different things instantly. But when it comes to healing, everybody, you need 6 months to heal. You need a year to heal. You need a couple of years to heal. Take some time out. Healing is not universal. Healing is not universal. Just as God parted the Red Sea in about 10 seconds, He can heal you in 10 seconds. But nobody wants to deal with that side of God. We pick and choose what we believe for Him to do instantly. And we have to stop as believers trying to pick and choose what's appropriate for God to do instantly in our lives.
So, and I think that's good because there are going to be some things, some processes, like we said in the beginning. You got to go through it so you'll learn through it. So you're
Yep.
learning and you're growing and you're going through it. But I think the healing piece we hold on to is, if I hear you correctly, like we hold on to that hurt, we hold on to that pain, we hold on to
Because
that
because
trauma.
because some people feel like it's a crutch. It gives them an edge. It gives them leverage, but it doesn't.
Yeah,
Because God is saying, "I'm ready to heal you.
yeah.
I'm ready to heal you.
But
So why won't you
truthfully,
let me heal you?"
he said, with his stripes we are healed. So that doesn't just mean physically. That means mentally, emotionally, spiritually.
But if we don't have the trust, that scripture
It's
never
null
even
and
makes
void.
it.
It is not you.
That
That's
that,
good
that
stuff.
scripture never even comes out the ground.
Yeah, yeah.
So for me, it's always why can't we trust God to heal us instantly the way we trust Him to do everything else?
Right.
We'll say, God, you gonna give me $1,000 instantly. But when they come to that healing, crickets. Or somebody break up and then they turn around 6 months later and they married. Man, they sure rushed and got married again. How do you know what they went through? How do you how do you know what their healing process was?
Yeah,
You just based off of what you see. You don't know what they went through. You don't know if their trust level was what you trying to get to.
right.
You actually could you actually could get some of the favor off their life to come on yours if you actually go talk to them and see what they actually been through to
What you
get to
did.
where they are.
Right, right. And Deidre, or Dee, I like, what you said. They said you were bitter, basically, and you said you let it go on a Wednesday night. You just let it go. It's a choice too. And I'm going through. If I could be completely transparent, I'm going through, like, you hitting me right now with the healing process, or like the trauma of some things that have happened in the past. Because I'm like, man, the layers are being peeled off. You know what I'm saying? Like, I'm going through that process in some areas of life. It's like I'm finally healing where I've held on to so much stuff for most of my life, if that makes sense. So now, living a healthy life, learning how to set boundaries, learning not to give my life to people to control that, if that makes sense. Like, I've given access to me, and I've given it away to where people have control over my healing, if that makes
And
sense.
it does. And but guess what? Now that you said it, what are you gonna do?
Man, I'm moving forward, and that's on, like they say, that's on God. I'm moving forward from it.
Right. And so now it's out here. So
Yeah,
now when I roll back around 6 months later and say what Shaz is, we talked about you talked about that situation on the live with me, how it's going.
yeah,
If you tell me the same thing, then I'm looking at you sideways because
right,
wait, you the woman of God, you already know you need to speak to this thing and deal with it.
right,
You already put it out there
right,
for all these people that's watching.
right,
So let's deal with it and get to what we need to get to.
100% correct. On God, for real.
Right. And that's it.
Yeah, and surrender is necessary. It's a necessity, and that's surrendering to God's way and God's word, and really, like, that trust aspect in Him, to be your God, to be your peace, to be your healer, to be your provider, to be your covering, to be your trauma remover. You know what I'm saying? For a long time. And I said this, I stopped doing my podcast for a long time because I was like, I'm supposed to be on a healing journey, and I ain't. You know what I'm saying? I'm just being honest, because I'm like, now I'm not going to sit here and bleed on people and act like I'm okay when I'm not. And so I took a break because I'm like, I'm not about to bleed on these people that are following me for that, help me to get through this. And I'm hurting and I'm holding on to it and not letting it go.
And then to even add to what you're saying, because you bleed on them, you're now responsible
And
for
now
them.
I'm responsible for it, and I'm not about to do that.
Hey,
I am not
but
about
that's
to.
what I'm saying. See,
Yeah,
you responsible for those people, and
yeah,
so when God come to you, so you were bleeding on these people. You knew you were bleeding on these people. I told you to stand down for a minute so we can talk about some things, but you want to keep going. And so people got to understand when we doing these podcasts, when we out here being marriage of fictions and all these different, and I don't knock nobody for what they do, but understand that there's responsibility with God that comes with that. You can't be out here bleeding on people and expect that you're going to bear fruit because it's not going to happen.
right,
It's not going to happen.
right,
It's not going to harvest barren land because at that point your land is barren because all you're doing is destroying everybody in your path.
right. And that matters to me. You understand what I'm saying? Like that,
Yep.
because when I talk to people, and I pretty much feel like you feel, okay, we've talked about this part right here. 6 months from now I want to be able to say, hey, where are you in your process? Hey, if you say, Shasta, I'm 90% over the hill, that's progress. Instead of saying, hey, I still feel the same way I felt 6 months ago.
And see, I'm looking at you sideways.
Yeah,
I'm looking at you.
and
Hey,
yeah, and my heart is for people I really want to see you healed. I really want to see you, you know, go to the next blessing, or go to this next phase in life that God has for us. But a lot of times we can't get to that because we're holding on so tightly to what's not meant for us.
And I'll say this as a first year teacher, when I really got into it, like inside,
Yeah,
and started to get to know some of these kids, I'm like, man, the village is out of there. Like there's no village, and because there's no village, there's nobody helping these kids overcome their trauma. These kids have so much trauma.
right.
God, and to everybody that's watching, if you have a child or you know a child, you need to wrap your arms around these kids and start praying for these kids because a lot of these kids are going through pure hell and they don't have no outlet
Right.
at all.
Right.
So they just having to sit in that trauma, and that trauma is tearing their lives apart.
Mm-hmm.
Um,
And we need
and
somebody
and
to
I,
encourage them. That's why you in the school system.
and I've had to, God, I need a little extra strength today because seeing these kids struggle emotionally and spiritually, it started pulling on me.
Yeah.
And I'm like, Lord, you know how I am. I need you to reel me in and put me in the right spot to be able to help these kids.
Right.
Um, but God, we this generation coming up, there's a lot of trauma that we got to deal with.
That is good. If you can help a child, you don't spend years trying to repair an adult.
Yep, and
My
that's it. That's it. I
goodness.
love that. Say
That's
that, Lisa.
man, if somebody else
Woo,
can just can y'all put that in the chat? Just copy and paste
woo,
that.
that's good.
Come on,
Woo,
Lisa. If you can help a
woo,
child, you don't spend years trying to repair an adult.
woo.
Ooh, cause
Jesus.
yeah, because you grow up sweeping everything up under the rug, and that's
Yep,
basically the way you were, taught. It's like we ain't gonna talk about that. We gonna leave
no,
what happens in at home stays at home. And now the children are burying things and dealing with things, and now we grown adults dealing with the stuff that we never dealt with or
don't
faced as
don't
children.
don't don't know how to deal with no
Don't know how
trauma.
to deal with trauma.
Don't have no word.
Nope. Man, that was right there. That blew me. That was
Ooh,
good right there.
sheesh.
That was good. Lisa, Jesus,
Hey,
come on.
look,
So,
Lisa, listen. I need to get that put on a shirt. So at least I'm just letting you know. I'm gonna send you a love offering when I get that put on a shirt. So you just send your information because I'm definitely going to send you a love offering for that because
yeah,
whew,
that was good right there.
Jesus,
And
Lord, I
so
thank you.
now, thank you, God, revelation of why I love the young people so much. And now I get I have a better understanding in this moment of why it's been so hard for me to let go. You understand what I'm saying? Because
Yep.
my ministry is to help you heal. And I love the young people. I love the youth. And I don't want them to be, I always say, I don't want you to be 45 in where I am. You know what I'm saying? I want you to be further down the road than I was your age. Like, but if we never talk about what needs to be talked about, if we never help them heal as kids, that's right. You're going to be 45 years trying to figure it out. Man, we got to repair these kids, y'all. We got to get
We
these
do.
kids, we got to help these kids get right. We got to, no conflict resolution, no nothing. And generational curses are yeah, learn patterns. That's what you were saying in the beginning. We learn so much stuff
We learn. Yep.
yeah,
As kids,
as kids.
we see everything.
Yep.
Um, and some of the stuff just has to start getting broken. We have to start breaking it.
Yeah.
Are there generational kids that are different? Yes,
Yeah.
but the majority of the kids, they have no outlet. They don't
Yeah.
have anybody to talk to. Some of the things that some of my students have told me, and I'm saying like, man. So I have a kid um, that he's never left the city where I work at. Dallas is like 2 hours away.
Ain't never been.
He ain't never been.
Wow.
You know how heartbreaking that was?
Yeah.
And as a kid, I did my fair share of traveling. I got to other teams. I went to DC as a team. I went to like 6 states as a team. But to hear a kid in 2024 say, I've never left outside of my city to go to a major city that's 2 hours away. That's heartbreaking.
Yeah. That is. That
And
is.
now I'm like, next school year, I'm like, man, I gotta sponsor something so these high school kids
Take
can
them on a
at
trip.
least go to Dallas. Like, how does a kid in 2024 not have been to a major city that they're 2 hours from?
Yeah.
And then this same student felt like somewhere he went 30 minutes from his house was out of town.
Wow.
That was hard on me that day. Like, I had to go sit in the car for a minute. Now you pull up at home, you got
Yeah.
to sit there for.
You
I
got to
had to
sit
sit
there
there
for
for
me.
a minute. Like, man.
Yeah. Yeah.
And so,
That's rough. That's rough. So we got work to do to get to our
yep,
kids.
we do.
So, in what ways has your past shaped who you are today, and how do you envision your future?
My past was rough. But I will say, when I was in school, the teachers I had were strict, and they didn't play. They set boundaries, and this is what it was. Um, and even to this day, I am actually friends with about 55% of my teachers throughout school. I actually, crazy enough, can tell you every teacher I ever had from K through 12,
Wow.
like off the top of my head. But being around those teachers that spoken to me, even though I was in the violent environment, I still had those teachers speaking to me that you were destined to do great things. You're
Yeah.
destined to do great things, and held me to a standard. All those things matter. And so, even in a world where there was violence all around me, I chose to escape the hood and have a better life.
Right.
I chose to make sure that my boys that never had to live that kind of life or see that kind of life. My sons have never seen anything that I've seen.
Right.
I don't expose them to that. We have real conversations. They hear things, but what I was exposed to, they'll never get to be exposed to that. And just knowing that um, there's always a way out, and God can always provide a way. That's made things a lot easier,
Yeah.
and I'm a living witness to that every day.
Right.
I left home. I left home 11 years ago this year, and I haven't turned around, and I haven't thought about going back home, and I won't ever go back home. And anybody that knows me will tell you he ain't coming back home.
Yeah.
There's people in this chat that will tell you he ain't going back home. There's life for some. Life is better at home, and life is better for some outside of home.
Right.
And we have to find what works for us.
Right.
For each individual person, they have to say, God, where did you want me?
Right. But
And so when I
it goes
go
back to
ahead.
what you said. When you single, but you don't ever leave the house,
Yep,
to date, or
that's
you
it.
never go outside. So how do you know if something else is going to work for you if you never leave home? How do you if you never venture out?
But people don't want to venture out. They
If you never venture out and leave, hey, try it anyway. At least if you try it and it don't work, you can't say that you didn't try. So step out there. That's a word of encouragement for somebody, me probably. But
see. Here you go. We already talked about this, man. We already talked about this. You and this movement. We already talked about this about a year ago. I ain't touching it. I ain't gonna do you like that on the line.
appreciate it.
Not, not with the people. I'll holler at you later about it.
Yeah, pray for me. But thank you for being transparent though, because a lot of people, and especially like men, are not going to be that like honest like that and open up. Like not from my experience, are just going to be so open to say, "Hey, I've been through this, and but hey, I'm healed." And
But so just to go to that part. So as men, we weren't taught to express ourselves. So now you got men at I'll say 37 plus learning how to just now express themselves.
right,
About 75% of men 37 plus don't know how to properly express themselves. Don't know how to say this is what I'm going through.
yeah,
So now you got a bunch of guys that just hold stuff in, and then when it spills out, they getting a woman for old and new. They getting their parents for old and new. Everybody catching old and new because well, we was taught if you express yourself, you're a punk.
yeah.
That's what it is.
Mm-hmm.
You was a punk if you was a guy and you express yourself. If you're a guy and you go talk to a therapist, you are a punk.
And so now
And so now everybody, well, I want to go talk to a therapist, and more guys are open to it, but you still got to deal with the generation of guys that don't know how,
Right.
and it's not even enough therapists to help those guys, and so they're just spiraling trauma because they don't know how to vent, they don't know how to express themselves,
Yeah.
and now they just you didn't hit an artery and they just bleed on everybody.
Bleeding on everybody. But that's crazy because that goes back to what Lisa said and what you're saying. As kids, if we fall and scuff our knee, we were always told, get up, keep going, you're okay. Something so
Yeah,
small.
that's
But the
it.
whole reality is my knees used to be on fire. But falling, my knees on fire, and you telling me I'm okay. So now we're conditioned to say we're okay when we're not. So kid, oh, you okay? He's okay. Touchdown. I've seen it. Like, oh, they're okay. Don't cry. But now we're adults hurting, saying that we're okay and not crying. Because that's what we were conditioned to do. So now it's like a false humility or a false sense of healing or being okay, actually being okay. Instead of saying, hey, you felt you hurting? Okay, you hurting. Okay, we're gonna put something on it, but it's okay to admit it. It's okay to admit when you're not okay. But now what are you
In
gonna do?
2024 is okay,
Yeah,
but not then.
not yeah,
Not in the 90s. It wasn't. Not in the early 2000s. Wasn't you? You admit you hurt and you was a punk.
that's crazy. And now what? Now you 40 years old.
You 40 years old and you have no emotional intelligence whatsoever.
Jesus. Spiritually and naturally. That's right, Nakia.
That's it.
Mm-hmm.
And so now, as I said, there's not even enough therapists to deal with those tens of millions of people that need the help.
Yep.
And so now we got all these situations and guys not expressing themselves, and they jump over here relationally, and they don't know how to express themselves. They just going off what they see on TV,
Mm-hmm.
and so they trying to express themselves through songs or whatever. They have no originality, and so then when something go down, then she catching it for old and new for stuff that ain't got nothing to do with her.
Right.
The family catching it for stuff that ain't got to do with them because he had no outlet. He wasn't taught to have an outlet,
Yep.
and thankfully there are some of us that fell through that crack and
Yeah.
that didn't become a victim of that. Such
Right.
as myself, I don't have a problem expressing myself.
Yeah.
And so that's just something that has to be worked on. But how do you work on it when a lot of you guys are stuck in their ways?
Yeah. Now it is who I am.
Now it's who I am. I ain't gotta change.
Yeah.
You gotta change. If you want me, you change.
Yeah. And
And
that's so toxic. I
and
remember
God
saying
looking
that.
at him like, God looking at him like, who are you?
Right. I
Who are
remember
you?
I think I was like 27, 28, and I was like, that's who I am, accept me. Either you accept it or you ain't gotta deal with me. And it was like,
What I got you?
huh?
What
Right.
I got you?
It had me by myself. If I could be
Over
honest.
the over the trauma,
Yep.
pissed off.
Yep.
Don't want to talk to nobody,
Yep. But now I'm like, okay. Now I'm working on it. Way
and that's
further.
okay.
Yeah, working on
And
it.
and that's
Well, I
okay.
don't feel that way now, but then I was real dead set on it. I'm like, that's who I am, and it is what it is. You got to deal with it. Now I'm just like, oh, you can't be like that, Shaz. You gotta step out of that. So, because I want to be effective, seriously, and I want to be effective, and I know I can't thinking like that. I can't. I'm not gonna
Hey,
be
I agree.
a 50-year-old bitter woman. Whether single, in a relationship, married, or whatever. I'm not gonna be. It's not gonna be because I'm bitter. It's gonna be like the will of God, hey, you got something else to do right now or something, but it's not gonna be because of that. Not gonna be because I'm holding on to the bitterness and the hurt. But
And
that's
it's like I tell people all the time, I can't be the educator I am if it wasn't for God.
yeah,
I
yeah,
can't do what I do if it wasn't for God.
right, right, right. Well, thank you for coming on. Thank you for being honest and
My pleasure.
transparent.
Hey,
I feel like that's why God has people like us on the earth and doing things like this. That if we can reach that one person and that one person can change and then it trickles down, at least we're starting something positive going on in the healing journey and letting people know, hey, you ain't got to hold on to this. You can get over this. You can
you
get your
don't.
therapy, but let it work for you. You know what I'm saying? I'm doing therapy now. I'm like, hey, I'm gonna get some of this stuff out that I vowed to take to the grave. I'm gonna give it to a complete stranger, get it off of me, and,
That's it right there. See, see, there it is.
and move forward. Cause yeah,
And then, and you know what else is that? A lot of employment places give it free, and people still don't take advantage of it.
yep, I bet I did.
Still don't take advantage of it.
6 free whole sessions, and
You know what I'm saying?
and been wearing that lady out.
You know what I'm saying? Hey, is that you ain't got to pay for it?
Yep, wearing her out. But hey, I feel better. Hey,
Hey, don't feel good to get it out of there.
yeah, it do. It really does.
And
But do you guys have anything? I know we started later tonight, but he over there on the other side, so we had to give him time. But hold on.
amen, Lisa.
Yeah, me too, Lisa. Seriously,
That's it, Miss Kid, right there.
be
Shaz, read Miss Kid comment. That's it, right there.
also be
There it
aware of
is, right
those
there.
who now become offended when you learn to express your. Why? Because they can't
Hmm.
hold you to this level of silence anymore. Let me tell you
That's
what.
it.
Whoo, pin that.
Hey,
Yeah,
talk. See, that's it right there.
yeah, yeah. That's true. People get mad. Oh, that. Oh, I heard it. Oh, that's who you really are. No, I just got boundaries now. It's okay. I got to look out.
You ain't used to act like that.
Nah. Then when I started being vocal, it was like, oh, now you can't control me no more. Hey,
Yeah, then
it's your,
they don't want to come around now. You know, they don't
eh,
want to come around. You only see them at certain functions. You know,
yeah,
you might see them on Easter,
yeah.
you might see a little 4th of July, but
Hey,
other
that's
than that,
it.
man, look,
Still
they don't
love you,
want
but I gotta be who God made me to be, and He ain't make me to be no punk. But yeah, anybody got prayer, anything that you need prayer, you need prayer for a prayer request. I always say it. If is there anybody that's not saved, anybody that's struggling with their relationship with Christ, and just hey, I want to give Jesus another chance. This is your opportunity. I always say this is a platform that God gave me to win souls to Him, to help people get saved and healed. Doesn't have to be behind the pulpit on the four walls of a church. This is our place that we can do it. So if you're
to,
not
man,
saved, you want to be saved, you want to just say I want to get try Jesus again, this is the opportunity. If you need prayer for anything, this is your opportunity. And I am Riri, me. I pray for everybody on this podcast. I pray for everybody, for your true healing. Like seriously, true healing. And I want us to look back and say, hey, by next May, I want us to be able to look back at this podcast and say, hey, I'm way further along than I was in May 2024. I want to be way further ahead. I want all of us on here to be way further ahead than we were, a year ago. So let's keep growing and going and becoming the best version of ourselves. So if y'all don't have anything, if it's nobody, Travaris, thank you. Thank you, thank
thank
you,
you,
thank
man.
you. And I just pray God blesses you. And I see your heart, I see your spirit, and He got everything that you need and you want. He got it lined up for you. So you just keep
Amen.
doing keep doing what you said, trusting Him completely, and don't ignore His voice.
And by no means should you stop doing this because this will be a 50,000, 60,000 follower platform
I
before the end
receive
of
it.
this year.
I receive it.
Before the end of this year.
I receive it. I receive it.
And to everybody that took a moment to listen, I appreciate you. Um, you could have been doing something else. You could have been scrolling TikTok or whatever, but you took the time out to come here and listen to what I had to say. So to everybody that joined, I appreciate it.
Same here. Well, thank y'all. Thank y'all again for joining. Thank you, Travaris. Subscribe
Thank
to
you,
my
man.
YouTube channel, Destination Freedom with Shazzy Yapay. Share this live. Help some people. And help some people help some people. And we'll see you next week. Is a holiday. It's Memorial Day. So I'll see y'all the first Monday in June. All right? I'll see y'all the first Monday in June. My birthday's coming up. So y'all hold on to that. May 30th. My birthday. I'll be 46. But I love y'all. Y'all have a good night. Thank you
I love
again for
y'all, man. Good
joining.
night.